Hey, what's up YouTube? If you've been watching my channel for any period of time, you know I love flying FPV with a stabilized action camera. Well, I've been loving the DJI Action 2 because it's so tiny and lightweight, and now they have a new remote control for it that I'm going to show you right now, so stay tuned. Okay, so as I said before, I have been loving the Action 2, especially since they updated the firmware, because before it didn't look great in low light. Now it's starting to look really good in low light. I recently shot something at a art gallery flying through on the Cinemark 35 here, and that turned out really great. I was really happy with it using the Rocksteady in the Action 2. And now I've discovered, thanks to Barry Markowitz, shout out to Barry, that there is this little selfie stick thing that you can get for it. Now this selfie stick has a built-in remote control that pops in and out. It's just right there, goes in really easily. I think it's magnetic. Yeah, it is magnetic. You have to kind of put it in there. It's not a very strong magnet, but it stays in. This has a little tripod at the bottom. If you want to pull this thing up, you can pull it up like that and use it as a little tripod. Or if you want to use it as a selfie stick, you can do that. But here's what you need, and I want to show you how this works real quick. First of all, the remote pops out. So I'm going to take the remote out so everybody knows what a selfie stick is. We'll set that aside. This is the little remote right here. Now, real quick, if you aren't familiar with the Action 2, the Action 2 has this accessory. It can either just be a battery or it can be a battery with a screen. I have the one with the screen, and it actually pops together like that. And it's magnetic, and then it has these latches. So you have one screen on this side, which is the screen that is on the actual camera, and it has internal storage. And then you have another screen down here, which is the external storage, which has a micro SD slot right over here on the side. And then it also provides more battery power, and it has a USB port so that you can charge it this way. That's all good. If I'm flying FPV, I take the thing off and I use it by itself because it's light and it has enough memory in it to get a few good shots. Then you have to dump it. So with this new selfie stick thingy, it has a tripod thread that goes right there like that, and then it just threads in. It has this little wheel that turns, and then it's tightened. Like I said, I'm going to leave that off just to make this easier. But this now pops onto the bottom of that and goes onto the selfie stick. So you've got kind of this stack of things here. But the coolest thing about it all is the remote control, which is right here. It is a tiny little remote control. You can see it's much smaller than the actual camera itself. You hold down the power button on this little remote and it comes on, and you can see it's fully charged. This thing charges via USB-C, and so it's a rechargeable battery. And after you turn it on, it does this little countdown. It should acknowledge that it is connected. Little check mark, and then it says DJI remote connected. So now I'm connected. So now there's only two buttons on this thing, aside from a link button over on the side, which you don't really have to use after you've linked it the first time. There's a little tiny joystick, and when I push that joystick, it takes me into a menu where I can show photo. So if I want to take a picture, I just hit the record button, and it takes a picture. So I'm taking some selfies right now with it. If I go into video mode and I want to take a video, I just hit the record button and it starts recording. You can see the little red dot blinking on the remote, and you can see the counter in the top left on the screen, and you can see the red dot blinking on the DJI remote. Now you can't really change many settings in the camera. You'll have to do that with the actual camera. But once you've got all your settings done for photos and time lapses and hyperlapses and video, etc., you can toggle through them very easily using this remote control. I'm super excited about this because in the past, what I've had to do is actually put the camera on the drone and start it, and then make sure it's running, and then go sit down and start flying and make sure it's all good. And even then, I'm not 100% sure that the camera is actually rolling. I might see it start rolling, but what if it stops? The nice thing about this is, if I put it into video mode, let's go scroll through to video, and then I start it rolling, I've got a red light blinking right here on the remote. And so if it were to stop for some reason, let's say it were to, I'm going to push the stop on the actual camera, it tells me. So I know that I'm not rolling anymore on the camera, which is great. That's that peace of mind that if you're trying to get a cool FPV shot and your camera's not rolling, then you're not going to get the shot. Okay, so the big question for me is, can you actually stop and start this thing while you're flying your FPV drone if it's 100 yards, 200 yards, or meters away from you? So Chris and I are going to go outside and do a quick range test to see how close this has to be to the camera to still actually have a connection with the camera. We're going to find out how far away we can take this camera from the remote control and still get a signal from the remote control. So I'm going to hand Chris the remote control. I've just turned it on. I'm going to turn on the camera. So we've got the Osmo Action 2 here. So Chris, go ahead and hit record on the remote. All right, so now I'm recording myself with the Action 2. And it's, see, there you go. It's working just fine. Stop it. Okay, it stopped just fine. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, we're gonna walk over to this sidewalk, Chris and I are, and what we're looking for is a nice, clean line of sight for a long distance. So this road goes on for a long way, and it's pretty flat and straight, and there aren't any obstacles aside from that truck, which is moving. So I think what we're gonna do is, Chris is gonna walk that direction, I'm gonna walk that direction, we're gonna call one another so that we can talk, and he's gonna tell me if and when he can no longer see the camera or have a connection to it, like control it. All right, so let's go ahead and get on the phone, and then we'll walk opposite directions slowly. Maybe just go across that driveway. And can you still stop and start the recording? Yeah, it's recording. Yep, it's recording. And go ahead and stop it. It stopped, yep. Okay, let's go another 5 steps each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's try it again. Okay, it started. And go ahead and hit stop. All right, and it hasn't stopped yet. Yeah, try it again. Okay, it stopped that time. All right, let's try 5 more steps each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and hit start. Okay, nothing's happening here. Okay, so disconnected, yeah. So let's count how many steps we are apart. You want to just come to me? Okay, Chris is walking towards me, and we're going to see how far apart we were before it lost it. Because it worked in the previous 10 yards, so we can give it a range. So it's not very far. All right, so
35.
So about 35 feet seems to be the limit.
4 yards.
35, yeah. Sorry, 35 yards, which would be about 90 feet, maybe 100,
yeah.
100 feet. So about 100-foot range, which is the same, which is typical for Bluetooth, right?
Oh yeah. So I guess it's good for starting your recording, but
yeah. If you're flying FPV, you're probably going to lose connection. But now, did it reconnect automatically?
So far, it just says DISC.
Okay. What happens if you hold down?
I don't have any other.
Or turn it off. Turn it off and then back on.
Okay, I've turned it off. Okay, it's booting up. 5858. So I'm gonna hit.
All right.
Hit that button.
Yeah. Hit connect. And is it counting down or anything?
It's still counting down. Let me hit it again. Okay, check mark.
Okay, now let's see if you can start it. Yep, it says connected. Okay, so you can reconnect it by sort of power cycling it and then going through the reconnect process.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's it. This little remote control is one of the coolest accessories I've seen for the for any action camera. I love the fact that it fits so well straight into the selfie stick here. The selfie stick is nothing special. As a matter of fact, honestly, it feels kind of cheap, but it is designed to hold this thing right here, which I really think is a nice feature. But most of the time I could see just using this as a remote in order to make sure that my FPV drone that's holding my camera is actually filming when I want it to and to stop and start it. Love to hear your thoughts on the Action 2 as well as this little remote. Have you seen it yet? Comment below and let me know. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time on Ready, Set, Drone.